Hello, this is the implementation of the Mediator design pattern. Now, the Mediator design pattern is kind of the combination of the visitor and the observer design pattern. Let's create the main class and see what it is. Mediator main. The example of the Mediator design pattern is going to be a chat room. Well, this isn't much creative example, but this is actually the best suited example for this design pattern. It will be a chat room. So for a chat room, I would actually need users to log in to a chat room and talk to each other. Okay. Now let's think of the traditional way. Actually, the implementation of the Mediator design pattern would look like the traditional way already. So you may have some kind of Mediator design pattern in your code already. Let's create the class for user. Now I'm gonna keep this example simple, as simple as I can. I will private string. I will have one property for name for every user. Okay, and there will be a constructor with the username. Now I will probably have some kind of public void send message, okay, for the user with the string message, and receive message. Again, I would like to know what message I have received. Okay, public void. Now the receive message will be probably something like this. I will print out the user name, got the message plus message. Okay, and I would like to be able to send the message to other users. Now let's think, if I have had user instances here, let's say a private array list of users. Okay, this would be a very bad practice, because for every user you would have to store the user list again and again. For 3 users, there will be list of 2 users for each user. So you're gonna end up 6 users for 3 user in the chat room. So this will be just copying and pasting users in the memory. For every single user, it will be a combination or permutation or something like that. So it's bad. Instead of having the users inside the user, I should create some kind of source to mediate the message. See, that's where the name comes from, the mediator. I'm gonna need a mediator, and that would be the chat room. Okay, now the chat room is going to have the instances of users. So instead of having multiple lists in your system, instead of creating a list from scratch for every user, you're gonna have a private array list of users inside the mediator. Remember the observer design pattern, the newscast example. There was a source, and the source is actually notifying the users. This is something like that. But the idea in the Mediator design pattern is different, and I'm gonna explain it in a minute. So I'm gonna have the public chat room for the constructor. When I open the chat room and I create the chat room, I would have to instantiate the users too, like like this, and I would like to be able to add users inside the chat room. This is basically signing in. A user will be able to this will be users again, you'll be able to log in. Okay, now we have the basic list for users inside the mediator. Now this mediator is not actually mediating right now, so let's create one more function. In the real world example, a user will have the send message, which is empty here, and I would like to be able to send the message from user to the chat room. So all I have to do is to store the chat room instance inside the user. So this is basically knowing what kind of chat room you have logged into. Okay, and I would like to change the constructor to, for every user there's gonna be a chat room stored inside. Okay, now if I have the chat room, I will be able to call some method in the chat room to send message to users, for example, and it will be the message. Okay, now every user is going to be able to send the message to all other users. We haven't implemented that yet, but we will be in a minute. Let's write the information. Name is sending plus message. This user is sending the message, and the others is gonna have to receive. Now where are we going to call the receive message? It will be inside the send message to users method. See, it will be public void of send message, and who are we going to send the message? Basically the list. For every user in the chat room, every user logged in into the chat room should be able to receive the message. It will be not receive message, but there should be one more if statement here, because we would not want the same user to receive the message that he has or she has sent. So if the user is not equals to, oh, actually I have made a mistake. Which user am I going to compare here? Actually the sender, let's call it sender. Okay, I need a sender. I have to know the user that's sending the message, so that I can send the message to the other users. So there will be one more parameter, the message and the user, and it will be the sender. So I can call message, and this user is sending this message, and this message is being passed on to the other users, and those users will be notified, just like the observer design pattern. They're going to be notified, and they will receive the message. And if I look into the receive message, they will be able to get the message and write the console. So let's create the main method for our mediator design pattern. First, we're going to implement a chat room. Okay, now we're going to implement users. User, let's say 1. Or maybe give them a name. Albert equals new user. Sorry. New user. Name will be Albert. And the chat room is the chat room. See, we are storing the chat room inside the user so that the user can actually interact with the chat room. And two other users for Nancy, maybe. Nancy is a cool name. And, well, Mark. Another cool name. Mark and Nancy. Now we have users. We have the chat room. And we're gonna have to add the users to the chat room. Okay? Mark, Nancy, Albert. Now our chat room is ready. Our users are logged in. So I can basically call Albert.send message. Hello all. Let's see what this code is going to do. Now, Albert is sending the message, hello all. Then the other users, Mark and Nancy, got the message, hello all. Albert didn't get the message because he sent the message. Okay? Now let's see what have we done here. You see, we have the chat room, we have the users. This looks like observer pattern, but it's not, because the idea of this mediator design pattern is to be able to connect users in the mediator, environment in one unified mediator, and it's the chat room. Now in the observer design pattern, you don't have this. You don't taking one message or one object and passing on through the other users. So it's basically, I said it's at the beginning, it's like the visitor and the observer combined. Every user is visiting the chat room if they want, and the chat room is mediating the message or the object to other users. So mediation is the center here. It's like the hub in a network topology. I have the chat room, I have users are registered, and one user sending one message to other users in the chat room, all other users. So that's all about the mediator design pattern. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.